Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have things and stuff to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things Working and Stuff and Things Plays. I'm going to tell you about the response that Sean had to your insane generosity. Sean is my friend who was recently diagnosed with a kind of scary form of cancer, and many of you were very, very generous, and he was very touched. So we're going to get into that a little bit. I'm going to talk about the hardest blend I've ever had to prepare, to get ready to S in your P. And it's one that I had just experienced recently, and I'd like to hear your feedback about what your most difficult blend to prepare is as well. And then, of course, we have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. All right, gang, so some fun stuff coming up on Stuff and Things Working and Stuff and Things Plays. First of all, this coming week, there will be a blend spotlight. Maybe a new series, maybe it's just going to be a one-off, but I'm doing a video on Peter Heinrichs' Curly Block. It's not a first impressions video, it's not really a review, it's a spotlight. It's a weird blend, and I just wanted to highlight it on the channel. So that'll be coming out this Monday. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can get it early on Monday. For everyone else, it is Wednesday on YouTube. The following week on Stuff and Things, you notice I'm wearing this dazzling Steve Largent throwback jersey. This is the Mitchell & Ness Legacy Steve Largent 1985 jersey. So this is the less expensive version of the Mitchell & Ness NFL jerseys. I did a video a while ago talking about this, the authentic Steve Largent jersey. This is the more expensive version. Don't ever pay full price for either of these. You can get them for like 50% off all the time, so make sure you check that out. This one is very expensive. It's very heavy duty. It's very high quality. It's also, in some ways, kind of impractical to wear on a daily basis. So when the pro shop, I think the Seahawks pro shop was having a huge sale on jerseys, I picked up the Legacy jersey that I'm wearing now, because this is something that you can wear more often. And anyway, I'm doing a video, not this coming week, but the week after, in which I compare the authentic jersey, the more expensive, very true to the original version, with the Legacy version, which is less expensive, not as true to the original, but maybe more practical version. So check that out. Then on Working, oh my God. I had one of the worst days I've had in a very long time at work the other day. And I guess luckily that was the day that I decided to bring the GoPro with me to record. So it's not coming up this Monday. This Monday there's going to be a short. The Monday after, it will be episode 15, and I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it might be worst day ever, when things go wrong, very bad day. It sucked. It was about a 14-hour day, and it was just this cascade of everything going absolutely wrong. And you can see how that sort of builds on itself and basically turns everything into absolute shite. And it really sucked. I don't want to build it up too much though, because I've had worse days at work. It was obnoxious. So if you want to see what happens when things go wrong in construction, stay tuned for Working episode 15. And then on Stuff and Things Plays, yeah, my third YouTube channel, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have the Tears of the Kingdom series continuing. Man, this looks good. Did you see the throwbacks that they were wearing last weekend? They looked amazing. I think they're going to be playing with them in another game. They should just switch full time to their throwback jerseys because they look so much better than the new ones. Anyway, so last week I told you about how my friend Sean, someone I've known for years, someone I was in a band with, was diagnosed with cancer. And it's pretty serious and pretty scary. And I found out that there was a GoFundMe for him. It wasn't his own GoFundMe, it was someone else doing it for him. And without telling him, I talked about it on the channel on last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. and did a link to the GoFundMe. And I was flabbergasted by the response. So many of you so generously gave to that GoFundMe. And I was, refreshing and looking and seeing names that I recognized in the donation list. It was just very heartwarming, very amazing. So thank you so much for your generosity. That's just so cool. And Sean found out, well, he didn't find out. I told him eventually that I had done that on the video, but he told me that he was like, where are all these donations coming from? He didn't understand because, they got a good amount of donations initially, and then it had been kind of slowing down, and then suddenly there was this big spike. And anyway, I told him that I did it without asking permission first because I wasn't sure if he was going to say yes. He was very touched by the response. He wanted to maybe write something out for me to read for you on the channel. I just wasn't able to hook up with him yet this week, but maybe he'll be doing that in the future. But he was just, it's funny for people who don't understand what kind of community this is and what kind of viewers you are. They're just thinking, why would these strangers help me? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, they're fantastic people. And they have, a lot of them, been with me for years, and they're just amazing, supportive people. You are amazing and supportive people, and I can't thank you enough, and my friend Sean can't thank you enough. And now, fingers crossed, he's going to be going into treatment here soon, and I don't know. I don't even want to speculate about anything, but I'm just hoping for the best. So thank you so much. So, I mentioned I'm doing a video on this, Peter Heinrichs curly block. It's actually called, what is it? Wessex curly block? You can no longer get the Peter Heinrich version. It's similar, but not quite the same. But the main thing about this is this giant log. And when I was doing the video for this, I started trying to prepare it. I had a wooden cutting board, and I had a Bark River knife, a knife that is so sharp you can shave with it. And I had so much trouble just cutting through this giant log of tea. There are all sorts of other blends. There are plugs, some pretty dense plugs that, you have to give a little bit of gumption to get through it, but it's not that big of a deal. Flakes are easy, you just rub them out. Coins, you just rub them out. They're a little bit more annoying than just a standard ribbon cut, but there's kind of this order of annoyance as far as preparing a pipe blend. So a nice ribbon cut is the easiest, I would say. I'd say maybe a crumble cake is second easiest, a flake third easiest, plug fourth easiest, rope maybe after plug. This is the most difficult blend to prepare that I've ever had. And it's not even, again, it's not that hard, but I was shocked by how difficult it was to get through this with a very, very sharp knife. I mean, I was putting all my power behind that thing, and I'm pretty powerful. And I was having so much difficulty getting through this. You can see that the cut ended up being kind of jagged because I couldn't cut straight through. As I was cutting, my knife kept going to the side. Once you have it cut, it's not that difficult to rub out or anything, but it just made me think, there's no way I would ever be like carrying this in a bag or something and be like, oh, I want a pipe, and just pop this out and prepare it. It's just too much of a hassle. I think what I'll end up doing, if I had a nice like mini guillotine, I could just cut off slices of this, have those ready and rub them out when I needed them. But anyway, this is by far the most difficult blend I have ever had as far as preparing it for essing. And I'm very curious to know if you guys have anything that can top this, Peter Heinrichs curly block. And how important is it for you to have a blend that's easy to prepare? For me, it just depends on what I'm doing. If I am at work and I just want a pipe very quickly, well, it's never very quickly, but if I just want a pipe while I'm at work, I am much more likely to take a ribbon cut blend over a plug for sure. Probably even over a flake or a crumble cake, even though those aren't that difficult. If you just have room or a space somewhere where you can rub them out. if I were taking a walk or something, I would probably never take a flake or a crumble cake or a plug or curly block. I would probably only take a ribbon cut because it's, you know, if you're standing, you know, you can put it in the pipe, you can pack it, you could hold the pipe over the tin, whatever. But if there's a place, if you have to actually cut and rub out and do things like that, it's just not going to work when I'm taking a walk or going on a hike or something like that. So yeah, I'd be very curious to hear how you feel about that. What is the blend that has been the most difficult for you to prepare or just the most hassle? And how important is it for you to have a blend that's very easy to prepare? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. You can also write to me via Patreon. If you are a Patreon supporter, go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video, go right to the front of the line, or you can write to me on my YouTube comments section, questions, comments, feedback, whatever whatever's on your mind is what I'm trying to say. First, via YouTube from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things, we have some feedback from, here we go, Mr. Westerhoff. Yes, the first throat clearing is the right G. Now, going back to the J, lose the D sound. You once did the correct J some videos back. So this is our good friend, Jorg Westerhoff. And the first throat clearing I did was like Jorg, which I don't know if it's supposed to be that strong. Obviously, I'm exaggerating it. And the J, I'm not hearing a D sound in that, the way I say Jorg. I don't know. I'm gonna keep working on it. Maybe you should just record a video of you pronouncing your own name and send it to me. That would help. Next, from @Nancy Offenheiser, Offenheiser 4916. When I donated tonight, I was thrilled to see how many people have been kind and generous. You're a good friend, Bradley. And yeah, and she's talking about donating to the GoFundMe for Sean. I'll still have that link in the description below. And yeah, I felt exactly the same. I was refreshing it and then seeing names I recognize, and it was just a really cool feeling. Next, from @TomBrown 1898. Bradley, as others have said, it's always right to help a friend or indeed anyone in such a plight. A friend of mine since 9th grade was diagnosed with metastatic melanoma and given not a snowball's chance in hell. So that's the same thing Sean has. That was more than 30 years ago, and today he's an old retired man like me. Like your friend, Dave is also a musician. There may be something in that. For your friend's sake, I certainly pray so. And that's really good to hear because I heard a lot of things that were very discouraging about that diagnosis, and it's nice to hear that there are people who have beaten it and are having full lives. Next, we have some feedback from last week's video on how to attempt to improve your handwriting 8 years later. @Hans Weber himself says, writing your own letters is the hallmark of practical penmanship. One develops a personal font to translate to computer times. Nice handwriting, by the way. Yeah, so I was talking about how I had 8 years ago studied Spencerian and was trying to copy the Spencerian version. 8 years later, I haven't really been diligent about practicing the Spencerian stuff, so my letters have kind of morphed into my own sort of thing. I just do need to sit down and practice more anyway, just practice writing more neatly because I've let my skills lapse a little bit, but that's why you should watch that video just to see how I'm doing 8 years later. @Ledger and Lace says, oh, a friend gave me an original 19th century Spencerian book like the ones you have. Very cool. I learned italic years ago, so that's my go-to for writing. Also very cool, but I can do other kinds too. Your handwriting is uniquely yours. Thank you so much. And yeah, I used to do a bit of, what is that called? I can't remember the actual name for the style of handwriting it, but it's where you use a dip pen and you can make really thin lines and really wide lines because the nib is so flexible. Why can't I think of that? Anyway, my brain is having a block right now, but yeah, it's really cool. If I really take my time, I can write really neatly, but I don't usually take my time. Next, from @Kopfjagdgerchache. Sorry, I have the same Spencerian books plus a newer Spencerian book I think is a little clearer, and I've been thinking about making a few minutes of practice part of my daily routine again. You were part of my inspiration to try 8 years ago. Cool. Perhaps I'll send you a letter to your P.O. box as an impetus to get started again. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, it's just a thing of I need to I do write in cursive pretty much every day, but I do need to kind of every once in a while sit down, take my time, make sure that I'm not developing any bad habits with my writing. But I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. All right, gang, thank you so much for that feedback. Please keep it coming in. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it would be much appreciated. We're trying to get to $105 supporters. Helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video, the editing software that I use, the lights, maybe a new editing station. Very, 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 very much appreciated if you would like to support the channels on Patreon. And every week we shout out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Ryan McFadin, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, and Jonathon Proctor. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, thank you so much again for your generosity towards my friend Sean. Please stay tuned for all the good videos coming up on Stuff and Things, Stuff and Things Plays, and Working. Please, if you haven't subscribed to Working yet, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers, so please jump on Working and sub if you haven't already. And like I said, coming up in the next couple weeks, there is going to be a very compelling video where you can see everything possible go horribly wrong with a concrete pour. So be sure to check that out. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday, Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.